Okay, good afternoon. I'd like to call this meeting of the MCAG Governing Board to order. The time is 3 o'clock. May we have a roll call, please?
Director Nelson? Director Reed? Here. Director Nagy?
Here.
Director Samra?
Here.
Director Amabil?
Here.
Director Smith?
Present.
Director Pacheco?
Here.
Director McDaniel?
Present.
Director Pereira?
Present.
Vice Chair Silvera? Acting Chair Pedroso?
Here.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have an invocation. Do we have a volunteer on the dais or in the audience who would like to lead invocation?
I was just giving time for somebody in the audience to step up. Joy does it too.
What?
If you'd like to stand. Heavenly Father, we have gathered here today to do the business of the county and the cities of Merced. And Lord, I just pray that you give us wisdom, patience, and the ability to make true, good judgments that might fulfill your will and support the people that live and call Merced their home. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First up is the approval of the agenda. Do any of the directors or the executive director have any comments on the agenda?
None for me.
Anybody from the public? No? Okay, is there a motion?
I'll move. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Director McDaniel, second by Director Nagy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The next item is public comment. Public comment is now open for anyone to speak on matters not listed on the agenda, and comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Do we have anyone in the room today who would like to comment? Okay. Have we received any public comments by phone or email, or do we have anyone who wishes to provide comment to the board today from online? No? Okay. Item number 4 is the Caltrans report. So we'll go ahead and...
Anand and Gregoria.
All right. Come on up. And thank you for sending out the PowerPoint. Appreciate that. Good.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll start with my PowerPoint, and you have the printout in front of you, hopefully. So I'll be going over key projects and action items from last meeting, and then I'll take some questions. So our first project is 1Q520. This is the crosswalk and flashing beacon in Planada at Sutter Street. And this is the project where this was initially had 4 more locations in Stanislaus, San Joaquin, and Merced, and it was cut down to bring the cost down, and team is moving forward. We can move to the next slide, please. Yeah, team is moving forward, and this is I have gone through these projects in the last 2 meetings, but I'm going over again in more detail, so please forgive me. Now we are in the environmental phase of this project, and which is anticipated to be completed by March of 2025, and by end of this month we will finalize the design will finalize the need for right-of-way take. The next project, what I'm doing is I'm going from east to west. So next project in Planada is our Planada intersection improvement project, which has a construction capital of 4.5 million, and total cost is 11 million. We have the critical path here is one parcel which is scheduled to go to CTC, and hopefully it'll work out okay. We also have plans coming in from Planada Community Service District, the sewer plans. So that's the critical path. So they have come in the last minute, and they have given us date of February 4th. So if that happens, we'll move forward. And the last thing, critical path, is concurrence on the artwork at the northwest corner. We need it from Merced County, so hopefully we'll get it soon to move this forward. We already have an extension on this project from CTC, and if we miss that date, we will lose this project. So team is aggressively working on this project. So next we move to further west is 0U230. That's the Merced 99 widening project. So here I have given you the alternatives that were developed in 2018. It doesn't mean we'll be following those. So we have alternative 1A, which was proposing 4 to 6 lanes, and with staggered widening on east and west side. And alternate 1B was 4 to 6 lane, but only 6 lane, not for, yes.
Sorry, Anand. I just want to make sure we're up on your appropriate slide.
Oh, sorry.
Nope, that's okay. I just want to make sure we get on the right one. It should say 99 widening PIDs.
Yeah, perfect. And
Okay.
we can move.
So if you'll just let Michael know when you need a slide change, he'll keep going. Or you can give him the clicker.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I have one here. Let's see if this works. Perfect. Thank you. Great. So alternative 1A, I was talking about, it's proposing from 4 lanes to 6 lanes, but with a right-of-way of 8 lanes for future. And alternate 1B was only enough right-of-way for 6 lanes, and alternate 2 was another for 8 lanes, but widening only on the east side. So all these alternatives were there, and on the next slide, I have the cost estimate. So what the team is working on right now is looking into feasible, realistic alternative based on the current environment. And so what the previous scoping document didn't cover was median widening. So we'll be looking into median widening to cut down on the cost. We'll be looking into the recommendations from our corridor system management plan, which is in the draft stage, District 6, which is Tulare, Madera, Merced. We're all working on it. And our target project initiation document date is June of 2026. So we move further north on 99. We call it Atwater widening with the EA expenditure authorization of 1J350. Oh, that's I'm forgetting here. Oh, no, it didn't. It's like my TV remote. Okay, it's a slow reaction time. Wow, it's really slow. Okay, hopefully it will not go back anymore. Good. So in this one, exactly similar thing. Team will be looking into median widening. Team will be looking into our corridor system management plan, and collaborating with District 6 project, which are in Tulare and Madera, which are ahead. So we'll learn from their findings and have a better project, which will be fundable. Same thing, bid completion date is June of 2026 here. Okay. We move to 59. EA is 1M480. It's our pavement anchor project. This project finished a project report this December. PSNE, which is our design phase, kickoff is scheduled for this month. And it took some time to finish our environmental phase, so right-of-way phase is squished right now, but team will be working on fast-tracking the project. The construction capital cost is $11.6 million, and the end of design, which is ready for construction, is January of 2026, not 2026-5. Sorry about that. That'll be too late. Okay. So next project is 1M140, which is Cities Merced 59 4-lane widening, and that one is north of West 16th Street to south of Buena Vista Drive. So the PR is done, and the team is right now working on PSNE and the co-op. So we are jumping into design phase now, and once the co-op is done, we'll move forward with it. Next project is 59 Merced Anchor Project. This is from, it includes Owen Creek, Miles Creek, and Edmonds Creek bridges. And its construction capital is 20+ million. Total cost is 27 million. So the critical path here is Central Valley Flood Protection Board permit. So to get that, we had to ask for extension to deliver this project. So we got that extension of 12 months. So we are using this time to add some complete street scope to the project, which has increased the cost, and we'll be going to CTC for some extra funds. So the additional scope is we'll be adding flashing beacon crosswalk, and we'll be adding drywall to address flooding issue on 59. And MCAG request is sidewalk, but I reported last time sidewalks are not feasible due to the high speed at this section. So the team is evaluating additional resources and costs, which we'll use to come up with a supplement fund request at the end of design. We move further west. Oh, okay. To Los Benos, 152 pavement anchor project. This project proposes curb ramps, driveway, sidewalks, class 2 bike lane, and it'll upgrade existing drainage system and add intelligent transportation elements. We started design phase in June of last year. We met in October with City on their request for West I Street improvements and looking for and their contribution. A meeting with the City and MCAG is scheduled on January 22nd to further discuss that. This construction capital is close to 30 million, and the design will be done, which will be ready for construction in 2026, March of 2026. Next project is 59 Gerard Avenue intersection improvement project. This project is proposing a roundabout, curb ramps, lighting, flashing beacon, drainage improvement, signage, and striping. Okay. The critical path is one parcel, and we are going to CTC with the RON for this parcel. We are still negotiating with owners of 4 parcels, and we have acquired 1. So we are hopeful. utility plant. We are working with the utilities, and PG&E transmission line is a critical path right now. We hope to get it finalized by March 2025. And the AT&T and Comcast relocation are tied to the PG&E plans. Construction capital is $4.5 million, and we have to deliver this project by June of 2025. Yeah. Okay, next project is Merced 33 curb ramp sidewalk driveway project. This is at 2 locations. It's at Gustine and Dos Palos, and this project is a construction capital of $5 million. Project is 95% complete. Dos Palos work is nearly done. Gustine work is working to complete pretty soon. The remaining task is PG&E walls that needs to be raised to the grade. And we also have rapid flashing beacon crosswalk near the elementary school, which is awaiting PG&E service connection. So the action item from last meeting, we had unsheltered housing under 99 Childs Avenue, and this is the in the week of December 16, our maintenance people using their contract, they went through and addressed these locations. They'll use they have a hazmat contract, and they'll use that to come back and looking around February 10th, do a second round. The next action item was pavement condition in the center of 152 Volta Road, and maintenance is aware of that. This is due to high truck traffic, which are tomatoes trucks, and maintenance right now is looking into paving it using cold mix, and then maybe in summer come back and do hot mix. We have our roundabout projects coming in, and that'll address the whole intersection. It's in environmental phase, and the construction will start late 2027. And we have a future project, full anchor pavement project, which is in the project initiation document right now, and that will it's from our Merced County on the east to Badger Flat Road, and the team is working on delivery year right now. We expect 2030. The next action item was to look into the curve on 152 east of Turner Island Road, which is before the Orchid Barn, and our traffic operation team is investigating and looking at this section right now. So those were the 3 action items. I'm open for any questions, please. Thank you.
Director McDaniel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, thank you for the presentation, and I just found the slide deck here, so appreciate having this. I do have a question on the 4-lane widening project for Highway 59 from 16th Street to Buena Vista. There are currently 2 bridges there on Black Rascal that are impassable for at least 2 semi-trucks. Our buses can't seem, they have to wait for cars to pass there. And it seems like those 2 bridges in the middle of this project. Are you including these bridges in that as well? Because right now, like I said, it's very dangerous. We have pedestrians trying to walk on there at the same time, and yet 2 trucks can't even pass each other on those bridges. So those are in the scope, in the map. I was hoping those bridges are included in this as well.
I don't know that detail, but I can tell when you have a widening project, it will address that.
Okay.
Address complete street. I can get back to you into that detail and report. This is a city's project, and we will get those details to you.
I can confirm that the bridge widening is included in that project.
That they're doing.
Their project is a pavement project. It's a shop project. The city's project is the widening that is ineligible for shop, and that's what they're using the measure for, and that includes the widening of the bridges.
So it's all going to be done at the same time?
So what we are proposing is we will split the pavement project into two. So we will split in two, and the section that's overlapping cities project, we will make it financial contribution only and contribute that money to that project.
The funding sources have different timelines. So for when the city is able to go to construction for their project, Caltrans is paying for part of that project. So they're basically taking that portion from their pavement anchor and putting it in the city's project, and they're going to help pay for it. So they are on different timelines, but there's not going to be a duplication of effort. The projects are completely coordinated, but I don't know if that answers your question.
We are having internal meetings. We just had one this week where we want to tie those two projects together and go to CTC for splitting the project and asking for moving the project out by a year to tie it with the city's project.
Okay, because we had the director with us on the bus, and we had to stop the bus, and he was even a little concerned, why are you stopping? Because we had to let the other cars go through on a state highway. So, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Director Nagy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of things from Gustine. One is to remind you about the bridge that's in need of repaving on 33-140 over the CCID canal. And the other one was AB 413 that was put into effect the first of the year. I guess it prohibits parking within 20 feet of a crosswalk. And the project that is going on in Gustine currently, the sidewalk project, which is absolutely beautiful, it's got a lot of corners to it and a lot of sidewalks. Will Caltrans be painting those red, those areas, or would that be up to the city, or?
I'll find that out and I'll
Okay.
report to you.
Thank you.
Director Nelson.
Good afternoon. On your report, I like your report. It was good. But could you please include pictures of the alternatives? I'm more concerned about Atwater, but all of them actually, a picture's worth 1,000 words. It says alternative one, it doesn't really mean much to me. So if you could provide those with that for this report, I'd appreciate it. And then second of all, back when Marlon was here, which has been a while, I had asked about the fencing between northbound 99 south of the Atwater Boulevard exit and East Broadway, which is I think there's about a 15 to 20 foot separation between the freeway and the road. Part of the part of the fencing there is chain link, which is okay, and then the rest of it is barbed wire. And I sent Stacy some photos, and she's going to forward them on to you, that shows where a big rig came off the freeway and went through the barbed wire. And so I'd like to see what somebody from the Merced office was supposed to look at that and check into it. And of course, Marlon left and nobody ever followed up. So if you could look into that, I'd appreciate it.
Definitely, I'll ask our traffic safety to look into it.
Good, thank you.
Okay. Director Pereira.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mayor Nagy and I have been kind of tag teaming on that bridge on 140-33 at Sullivan Road in Gustine. And so somebody came through and patched it. And so it's a little safer, because it did have some pretty deep holes, like 7-8 inches deep. But it's certainly no smoother than it was before. Now there's humps. So it may be that they patched it because they plan to come back and resurface it. And if that's the case, then that's great. But we don't want to lose sight of getting that ultimately fixed versus.
Yeah.
like it is.
I think 2 meetings ago, I reported on them. They were, if I remember, there were 2-3 maintenance projects coming through. So one will patch, one will do more. And then in future, we'll have a full pavement project, which will address that issue.
All right, and then so North 59 goes and dead ends in Snelling, or ends in Snelling. And then from Snelling to, I guess that would be considered Jamestown, The 108, Highway 108, it's J59, so it's county roads. And it runs through, starts in Merced County and Snelling, and then goes through Stanislaus County, and then finally into Tuolumne County. And so the Supervisor Chiesa from Stanislaus, and then Brandon from Tuolumne County, we're all asking that become North Highway 59 all the way. You know, it's one of those roads that only traveling traffic uses. You know, I'll bet you as many people from LA drive on it as people from Merced County. And so, I don't know, 4 years ago, I was working with the Assemblyman Gray to get that switched over to a state highway. And then, of course, he's moved on to Congress now. So anyways, just kind of want to make you aware of it. So as we make our push, Grace, then your team should already be aware of it, but just know that it's coming from us. And then on North Highway 59, about a quarter-mile north of the Edendale Canal, there's a spot that's failing on the right edge, you know, the right, I guess you'd call it the right tire lane, you know. And so the Merced yard has come out and patched it multiple times, but it doesn't last more than maybe 6 months. So I don't know if they're planning some sort of major, pavement out there or what, but it really needs to be addressed. It's, there's dirt in the traffic lane that's wore out.
I'll look into it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for bringing it.
Director Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the presentation. I think Director Nelson would probably be interested in my question as well. So I heard you talking about the Merced and Atwater 99 widening projects on our way. And I heard you mention that Caltrans is looking to learn from experiences had in Tulare and Madera. I would just hope that Caltrans also learns from the experience for the last time around when Atwater and Merced were widened. Can you tell us if there's a plan to have the freeway tunnels installed in this upcoming project, and if so, for how long?
We are in the preliminary phase right now, project initiation, and we have lesson learned from Merced and other projects, and definitely we'll be implementing them. And if we ask for a proper tunnel wide enough and headquarters or some agency or someone else restricts us, we will fight and get it widened enough so we don't have narrow tunnels. We have proper tunnels with proper width and a construction staging which will finish the project as soon as possible.
Okay. It's an important commitment. And will the cities of Merced and Atwater and Merced County have a chance to review and approve the project before it gets going?
Definitely. You all are part of it. So as soon the team is sending out requests to sending out requests to various functional units, as soon as they gather data, we compile it and we'll bring all the stakeholders and have regular meetings to update them.
Do you have a timeline for that? And if you don't, it's okay. I'm not trying to play gotcha.
I'll work with the team.
Okay.
I do just want to confirm that Ken Elwin and with the city and a few folks from his team, Nathan Bray from the county, I think it might have been Greg and a couple folks from the city of Atwater are all on the project development team for both of these projects that just started in the fall. So we're really trying to get them, even if they're just a fly on the wall listening from the very, very, very beginning, for largely the same reason that you stated.
Great. I look forward to an update then. Thank you very much.
Okay. Anybody else? I do want to say thank you for the initial work that you did and Caltrans did on cleaning up some of those encampments, and I look forward to them coming back because just as quickly as you clean them out, they go back. And so I think it's important that we kind of stay on that because it's an eyesore, and if it's on your right of way, I think it's your responsibility. So I don't have anything else unless there's anything else. Thank you for your report.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Item number 5 is information items. These items are included for informational purposes and will not be presented by staff unless board members have questions. Are there any questions for staff? Any questions from the public? Okay. Item 6 is the consent calendar. These items may be acted on with one vote unless specifically removed for separate consideration by a member of the board, a member of staff, or a member of the public. Do any of the directors have questions for staff? Are there any comments from the public? Okay, is there a motion?
Second.
So we have a motion by Director Samra, second by Director Smith. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, item number 7 is action items. These items will be presented by staff and public comment will be available during the consideration of each item. Item 7A is the election of a board person to serve for the remainder of the fiscal year, and I'll turn it over to Stacy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am going to do my best to summarize this as quickly as possible. You know that's not my strong suit. Okay.
Summarize your talking point.
Yeah. Okay. So we're in a place where the board is being asked to elect a chair for the remainder of this fiscal year. That is after we found our chair vacancy following the election last November. So the board has a chair rotation policy that has been in place for several years, and it's a board rotation schedule that was developed as a guiding document largely to ensure that there was equity in the rotation of the chair duty across all jurisdictions, so that essentially everyone had their spot in the hot seat, I guess. The guiding documents that really kind of govern this in our bylaws really state that largely the main principle is that you have to have a combination in the chair and vice chair. You have to have a combination of a city and a county rep. So you cannot have a county vice chair and a county chair. You can't have a city vice chair and a city chair. You have to have one of each for those spots. And to be eligible for that role, you also have to have served on the governing board for at least 1 year. And that's about the extent of direction. So between what's in the bylaws and the policy that the board developed, or the rotation schedule that the board developed, there is quite a bit of room for board discretion on the process when we get into gray areas. Precedence has been, we've been in this situation a couple of times. Precedence has been when we've had to elect a chair for a mid-year term, it has been to look at the next, it's essentially the city, it's been the city for these examples, the next city in line to fulfill that term. So this term vacancy was Los Banos. The next in line is Livingston, and then Gustine, so on and so forth. So in this instance, the precedents would suggest you would look at the city of Livingston to serve as chair through the end of this fiscal year. Precedence also suggests, and what I believe the chair rotation policy states, is the intention is that if that city were to fill the partial term, that then their term has been met and they go to the back of the line at the back of the rotation. So they're basically jumping ahead and serving half a term and calling it checked. If a city under that policy still decides not to take their turn, they also go to the back of the line. That's essentially precedence and what our policies say today. We're in an unprecedented situation in that Livingston has a new, I'll say air quotes, new director. Director Gurpal was just recently elected as director for the city of Livingston, and former director Jose Moran is now the alternate. So one could say Director Samra is new to the board because he just became the director and hadn't served on the board as the director, but one could say that he did as alternate and also as a board member several years ago in different, when I believe when you were mayor in the city of Livingston. I share that only as a perspective because there is no right or wrong. This is at board's discretion. There also then could be then the argument to be made that you could look at the next city and swap those two cities, which would be Gustine. And so Director Nagy would be eligible to serve as chair for both for the 1 year term. I mean, for the 1 year having been on the board, he would satisfy that requirement. I'm going to just kind of jump to the end and make a proposal that the board maybe can use as a starting point, because this is not a black and white. I can't, based on the documents that we have, say that Director Samra is eligible or ineligible, because there's not clear policy there. So basically, I think the proposal that I'd like to make is that the board could ask the City of Gustine to serve as the chair role, but because this isn't a typical scenario, to then not adjust the schedule as we would previously. So for example, if the board appointed Director Nagy to serve as chair, the notation in the chair rotation policy would then suggest that Gustine goes to the back of the line. This is now the second time Gustine has been asked to do this and would only have had a 6-month term instead of a full term. So I would ask the board to consider having, basically not changing the schedule. So Livingston stays where they are as incoming vice chair. Gustine would stay where they are in the rotation to follow Livingston, but essentially think of it as Director Nagy, if he's willing, could sit in the role for the 6 month, and then we just resume our regularly scheduled programming. That would be a point of, just to kind of maybe start the discussion there. I asked council, did I miss anything?
No, I don't think you missed anything. You provided quite a bit of information.
Okay. I've had a lot of conversation on this one, or a lot of work.
Director Smith.
So I would agree that Director Nagy would be a fine chair, but I would like us to explore maybe sticking with the bylaw and the spirit of the bylaws as close as we can. If the issue is that Mayor Amabile has not served for 1 year on the board, he's coming back from prior service as the mayor of Los Banos, and I have a hard time thinking that he can't run a meeting. I would like to see not only the spot stay with the city, but I don't see why we can't explore having it stay with Los Banos. I mean, this board can always suspend a bylaw if there's a majority of folks up here who are willing to do that. I mean, I would say we suspend that portion of Article 4.1 about officers at the very end, the last clause, so that we don't have this strict 1 year service requirement. And I'll pause and just say, as a matter of fact, I don't know if he hasn't in his prior life as a mayor served on this board. So I'd like that question answered as well. But I mean, I think Pat would do a fantastic job, but I think that Los Banos deserves a shot to stay on schedule.
From a legal perspective, I don't think that creates an issue. I believe Director Immobile has served on the MCAG board before, thus meeting that 1 year requirement. So I think if the board wanted to take that route and have Los Banos continue for the remainder of the term, that's legally not a problem.
Chair, I just want to say that I served 12 years on this board, and I was chair twice for 2 years. But it was 18 years ago, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, the cards are just different. Okay, so are there any other comments? Yes, Director Nagy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, first, I just want to say that I would gladly do whatever's asked of me by this board with gratitude and commitment. I understand the dilemma of Mayor Moran only attending 1 meeting and Director Gurpal attending 7, and the way that it's kind of fuzzy. But I think we need to work on this in the future as to whether we want the 1 year service to be immediately before taking the chairmanship, because you don't know what the ins and outs or what we've been doing for the last however long before you become the chairman. But also, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, this is just kind of stating fact that the Livingston Council Member Roth said in open session, I paraphrase, that Livingston would be underserved by taking the 6-month term, to which council agreed. But then why is it okay for Gustine to be underserved and take the 6-month term? That's one question. The chair only has one vote and no veto power, so you're not any different than any of the other directors up here. On what was in there in the agenda packet, as far as what it says, it was kind of different in one than it was in the other, and it looked to me on pages 138 and 139 is that if Livingston passes on the appointment, that they lose their position and go to the back of the line, which means they wouldn't be up for chairmanship until 2036, 2037. So we need to clarify that. And then, like the history that Stacy had said, in 2017, the board adopted the chair rotation, but in 2019, Gustine took a 6-month chairmanship due to the Livingston director not being reelected. And then in 2021, Dos Palos took a 6-month chairmanship due to the Atwater director's resignation. And then the same is happening now. I think we need to change the verbiage and clear it up, no matter what decision this board makes. I think that's something that we need to work on, and that we need to have that the primary member attends the majority of meetings or 2/3 of the meetings or whatever the prior year to serving as chairman. I also think that that any time a city or a county passes on their turn, that they go back to the end of the line. Because you can't say, well, I don't want it this year, but I want it next year. Because then you've got politics playing in there that, I want to be the chairman in 2 years, so, go ahead and pass so we can get it in 2 years, and I'll be the director then. So I hate to have that happening. And because this is a reoccurring theme, I would really like to petition the board to change the election cycle of the chairmanship to the calendar year. That way, after there's an election, if the person's not elected, there's no problem. Nobody has to serve a 6-month term, and life is better. That's all I have. But whatever the board decides, I'm fully behind whatever decision they make.
Director McDaniel.
Thank you, Chair. And Director Nagy, thank you for that. This was a long, to come up with this. It was a long debate. And from the beginning, I said we either have an election or we have a rotation. And this is actually an election. This policy is only a suggestion. And so I've either said either have it be a real election or make it a policy for a rotation. Because now here we are in the dilemma again, discussing the same problems we had. But I was all by myself in that debate where folks were telling me in the back room they agreed with me, but nobody stepped up to really debate to come up with that. So going forward, I don't think we need to make that decision today, but I really would genuinely like to have, what are we going to do? Is it really an election or is it a rotation? Let's make that definite so we aren't here. I do like the idea, and I think this was part of the debate last time as well, is how do we bring it into the term with our election terms as well, so we don't run into this all the time, because this has been pretty consistent of a dilemma that we have here at the dais. So moving forward, I think we could make a quick decision today, but maybe really hash out this policy and really make a real policy instead of just a suggestion moving forward.
Director Silvera.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pat, I agree with the fact that we need to probably look at going to an annual election, not with the fiscal year. I think that solves a lot of the problems that we have. And then to just on the point of, having that year of service, the reality why that is in there is if you're a brand new elected person to whether it's the Board of Supervisors, to a city council, you're brand new elected, you've not been around government. I can just tell you, I was at a meeting today where they had a big changeover on their Board of Supervisors, and their chair and vice chair were newly elected supervisors. And just someone coming in like fresh off the street, for lack of better words, that's got to be challenging, right? I mean, it takes you a little while just to understand the lingo with the acronyms that we talk about here. So I think that's why it's set there. So to the point, if Mayor Amabill's willing to, I think if he's willing to take the chairmanship for the end of the year, I've seen Mike run meetings. I've actually seen him run MCAG meetings back in the day. So I don't have any concern of we have like a brand new, fresh, green person coming in now going to be chairing our meetings. And let's just face it, as the chair of this board, you run the meetings. You get a phone call about the agenda coming out or an email about the agenda coming out a little bit early, but you're not dictating what's on or off the agenda. You're really a meeting facilitator, and I think that as long as Mayor Amabill's willing to, which he told me that he would be, I would go ahead and make the motion that we just continue having Los Banos be the chair for the rest of this year. And then, Stacy, I think that at some point before we get to the end of this term, let's agendize and have a discussion on what we want it to look like moving forward, because it's going to cause at some point in there, either somebody's going to have to serve a half a term or somebody's going to get an 18-month term. Or if we have that discussion before the end of this fiscal year, if the mayor's willing to, maybe you just give him a fresh 1-year start. It's a new person, and then the rotation continues the same. And so I just want to put that out there for consideration. But really, my motion is to nominate Mayor Amabill to be the chair for the rest of this term.
Second.
Anybody? Is there anybody else? All right. Is there any public comment? Okay. So.
Can I ask for a point of clarification?
Yes.
Or will we be making that switch now as planned, or would you like
The next meeting.
next meeting? Okay. That's why I asked the question. So then I would also ask, Director Pedroso has been in the, well, I don't know if it's appropriate, but Director Pedroso is chairing the meeting in anticipation of Vice Chair Silvera not being here. Do we want to, after? No further questions.
Okay. So we have a motion. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Director
well,
Barrera.
I'll say the switching the calendar to the January through December makes sense. And Mr. Mayor Amabill, no disrespect, but if we were going to do that, today would be a good day to start that. But yet, given Los Banos a year and a half is, I don't know if that's appropriate either. So anyways, so maybe we just do the 6 months and then, the next time this happens, we change it.
I think you have to consider that doing that it's not on the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
So that has to be agendized before we could take an action on it, so.
Yep, I'll have it on.
Okay. Did you have another question? Okay. All right. So we have a motion by Director Silvera and a second by Director Shane for Director Amabill to be the chair starting the next meeting. Okay. I'm sorry?
Well, it's through the end of the term.
Through the end of the term, correct. Okay, so we have a motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Baptism by fire.
I tried sparing you. I'm sorry.
You've been a believer a long time.
Okay, item 8 is MCAG discussion items, but there are none. 9, there are no. Oh,
We skipped. We just did.
oh I'm sorry. Sorry. We did. Yeah. We got to go 7B. I'm sorry. Item 7B is a request to approve the transportation planning priorities for fiscal year 25-26, and for that we have Meg Prince.
I got skipped over at TRB and I thought I was off the hook again. So,
Hold on.
and everyone.
Hold on a second.
It's on.
Is it on?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Let's stand a little bit closer. So it's January, which means we're developing our budget for the next fiscal year, also called our overall work program, or OWP. We're required to develop an OWP each year, and it outlines the transportation planning activities for the next fiscal year. It essentially serves as our work plan for all the transportation planning activities at MCAG. There's both federal and state requirements, and then we need to submit our draft OWP to FHWA, Caltrans, and FTA by the end of February. Each January, we take a list of transportation planning priorities to the board for approval, and we do this for a couple reasons. The first is to guide staff as we're developing the draft OWP, and then the second is to provide a framework to support these policies as issues and new projects arise during the fiscal year. There's a list of 14 planning priorities beginning on the bottom of page 143 of the agenda packet. These are the same priorities that were adopted last year, and I can briefly summarize them. They are to leverage local funding to increase state and federal investments in the region, support implementation of Measure V projects, continue to support development of passenger rail and interregional bus service in Merced County, as well as the San Joaquin Valley, support good movement corridors, improvements to Highway 99, supporting projects and programs that support our sustainable community strategy, which is a documented plan that we update every 4 years, support zero emission vehicles and infrastructure, active transportation, transportation safety, going through these kind of quickly. The support freight and goods movement, a variety of public transportation programs and services, things like van pool, support local agencies in meeting their housing planning goals through the Regional Early Action Program, or REAP 2.0. And I guess one very minor change from last year's priorities is that REAP 1.0 was mentioned, but that program has concluded as of this month. And then considering equity in the transportation planning process across all of our planning activities. And then the last priority on the list, but it's definitely not the lowest priority, is focused on some of our more technical requirements as an MPO. So that includes data analysis, transportation modeling, and then the performance measures that we're required to adopt and monitor. The staff report also includes a list of projects that have been completed in the current fiscal year in alignment with the existing OWP priorities that were just mentioned. The draft OWP will come to the board in March, and then the final will come in April. That concludes this item. I'd be happy to take any questions or feedback, but the request is to approve the transportation planning priorities, and then we'll continue to move forward with developing our budget around these. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Yeah. Who do we have? Lloyd? Oh, Dr. Smith.
Stop being so chivalrous. Ms. Prince, thank you very much. I know that you said that these priorities were approved last year. Were they the same exactly?
Yes.
Okay.
The only minor change was that REAP 1.0 was moved from the housing priority.
I mean, I guess it's fine. A couple of thoughts. I mean, I'm not sure what isn't in here that MCAG does. When I see a list that's, every point is written as broadly and there's 14 of them, I actually don't know what the priorities are. I mean, it's just something to consider. I don't know if this is transportation priorities or it's MCAG priorities, because I see housing is in here. I know it's unfairly or not been foisted upon everybody. And then in 13, we're going to consider and support equity at all stages of the transportation planning process. I mean, that seems very school district to me. But I mean, in prior years, what has the board meant by equity? Is this the equity where everybody gets the same thing, or everybody gets what they need?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to be too much of a lawyer about it, but just if I was in the community and I saw 14 things that sound like everything that we do anyway, that's not a list of priorities. I might encourage the board and staff in 2026 to maybe actually hone this down or have different tiers or something like that. Because if this is driving the budget, this is just a rubber stamp on last year's budget. So ask everybody to consider that.
Fair enough.
I like the tiered idea.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, any questions or comments from the public? All right, is there a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion by Director Nagy, a second by Director Samra. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, it passes. Item 7C is a request to approve the 2025 Governing Board meeting calendar, and we are back to Stacy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have included in the packet on page 145 the latest rendition of or edition of our board meeting schedule. A couple things to note. So the direction we received was the board had approved our meeting dates through April and asked staff to just go one step further and further coordinate to make sure that we're trying to move dates where there are obvious conflicts to see where we arrive. And so the schedule that we are proposing reflects a change in May that would be May 22nd to work around our One Voice program. June 12th to move away from the 19th, which is the Juneteenth holiday. And then we really spent a bit of time, actually I say we, it was Joy and Mary Michael, not me, a bit of time on those fall months. We have September 18th highlighted because September has been, I think now for 2 years, the meeting we have canceled because it is always complicated and there isn't a lot of movement because we have our Valley Voice program the week before, and then I know there are 2 conferences or 2 events that typically or can take all supervisors off of the dais. The reason why I'm highlighting it is because I'm requesting the board keep it on the schedule, recognizing that we can have a quorum should all 6 cities or their alternates participate, but that we as staff consider only having it in the event we need action on something. Sometimes, especially in the fall, when you come to things that need to be submitted to the federal government, things, resolution, something that is like, we have to get this passed. We have it on, and we can call a meeting, and we will then make sure the cities can be here. They'll have it on their calendar. But if we don't need to have the meeting, and we can get everything either on August or October, then we won't have a meeting. So that's why we're proposing it to keep it on because it is an RTP year. September is typically a busy month, so we have gotten pretty good at moving, but sometimes we need that day. So I'm respectfully asking that we keep it on, but we will try to not have to have that meeting. And then for the evenings, my brain, what are those months? The fall months. There are instances where moving the meeting could work for some travel of certain, I think it's supervisors, but then it translates into several cities not being able to do it. So moving it off of the schedule just shifts the complication from a supervisor to a city rep. So recognizing it is, and that's not broad because we also realize cities have alternates and the county doesn't, but this would be one or two board members, not the entire board. September is the one where we really seem to get the hint. Joy and Mary Michael, am I missing anything at all? Because I feel like my eyes are crossing when I look at this thing and I know I'm going to forget things. We've talked, yeah, like that, Pat. Or Director Nagy. Sorry, Mary Michael.
Just one more thing to add, that the supervisors or whatever directors are absent would still have the opportunity to join via Zoom. If they still have at least one of their 2 kind of slots that they can dedicate to virtual attendance, but we do still need all 6 we need at least 6 to be in person. Mm-hmm. And then the second thing I was going to say is that we did explore moving the September meeting, but there was no other date that worked. There was just a lot of travel happening that month. So really keeping it was the best option. That's just all I'll add. Thank you.
Chair. Yes, Dr. Rivera.
Just the reason for the June 12th meeting being at MCAG versus being here, is there any particular reason why?
I don't think the county was available that date.
That's right. The county wasn't available on the 12th. So if there are no other questions, that's the summary of my report. Yes.
I have a question.
Oh, yes.
Are we ever going to go back to alternating it between cities and the county like we used to do? The location. Yeah, we would do it at a city, then we would do it here, then we would do it at the city, and then we'd do it here.
So I will say that it is a decision of the board. It had not been something that we've resumed since COVID because of the varying degrees of technology. I think now we have the technology at all locations, but it does require staffing. So the city would, if we go to Gustine or any city, you would need city staff to serve and operate your equipment. As we do, we get IT support here when we come to the county. Is there anything else I'm missing? And that has been somewhat challenging for some jurisdictions, but that's...
No, the conversation was always around technology, and the board, I believe, wanted to have the option of having the Zoom connection, and we knew that consistently we could always provide it in this facility.
Okay, thank you.
So we have a motion by Director Pereira. Was there a second?
I'll second.
Second. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? All right. Motion passes. Oh, public comment? Sorry. All right. Item number 8 is MCAG discussion items, but there are none. Item 9, there are no TJPA action items and no TJPA discussion items under 10. We also don't have any RWA action items, which brings us to item 12, discussion items. Item 12A is the RWA Director's Quarterly Report. So I'll hand it over to James Moore for his presentation.
Thank you, Chair. Congratulations. You're moving quite quickly through the agenda, but we still have Stacy. So I won't take a lot of time up here. I did just want to...
His evaluation is this month, just so you know.
We've got a major infrastructure project going on out at Highway 59, and it's just really exciting to see the progress. I know, Director Pereira, you were out there just a couple weeks ago. Looks a little different when you drive up to the scale house now, as you look off to the east. We'll go ahead and move through. Got a picture here. Let's see, how far? Go back, Michael. I think, yep, okay, go to the second one. There we go, vehicle maintenance shop. I had some pictures last week for the TRB. I went out this morning and took some new pictures. The advantage to these pictures is if you see that red pickup truck there to the right, that has all the roll-up doors on it. So the roll-up doors are going to get installed over the next week. Just the progress that's going on out there has been really fun to watch. If we go to the next slide, shows our indoor recycling transfer station. It's a 15,000 square foot facility. You can see the roof is just about finished now. They're getting ready to put the skylights in. So we're hoping another couple of days and we'll be done with that facility. And then we will go to the next slide, which is our household hazardous waste collection area, along with our supply storage building. You can see also there, just to the left of the block building, those are the roll-up doors ready to be installed. Once they finish that roof on the recycling facility, they will be moving over and installing the canopy for the household collection waste area and the roof on the storage building. And we can go to the next slide. We are currently out to bid for our construction project out at the Billy Wright landfill. We're going to be constructing a new waste cell along with a surface impoundment area for the storage and evaporation of our leachate. We are working on questions from the bidders. We'll have an addendum going out next week. The bids are due on January 30th, and we will be coming back to this board in February for an award. That project, we've got about 10 million budgeted. Right now, the engineer's estimate is about 8. We've got, as you can see, a substantial list of contractors that showed up for the mandatory bid walk. So we're hoping we're going to see at least 5 or 6 bids, and we're hoping the cost comes in close to the engineer's estimate, which would save us some money. Next slide. Our battery collection program. We're going out, I think we finished up the multimedia and advertising today. We'll be distributing these boxes to 22 sites throughout the county, city offices, libraries, public works. We're really going to make a strong push to get the word out about this program. There have been a number of news stories recently about lithium-ion battery fires. Again, it's becoming a national point of focus, and we're trying to get ahead of this by establishing a local program to collect these items, get them out of our waste stream. So we're really excited about that. Next slide. Avian flu. It's still here. Nope. Boy, that's a quick button over there. Just some quick numbers. This started in 2022. Last fall, we started seeing some conditions again here. As of earlier this month, there'd been 19 affected flocks here in California. Commercial flocks, 3 backyard flocks, affecting over 4 million birds. We've had, as of yesterday, as I said, just a little over 6,200 tons brought into the landfill. That's a little over $800,000 in revenue that we did not budget. And as we did previously, we are going to allocate those funds towards our future cell construction out there at the Highway 59 site. So right now we've got just one ranch that is still bringing material to us, and they think they've got about 10 to 12 days left of coming in. We're seeing about 5 or 6 trucks a day.
McDaniel.
Do we still have a problem with the zombie chickens?
We do not have any zombie chickens this year.
First thing I asked.
Thank you.
And then with that, I'll conclude and take your questions.
Mr. Chair.
Director Pereira.
Oh, after.
Yeah, as Director Moore mentioned, I've been out there actually 3 or 4 times in the last month. But anyways, what's kind of neat, right, is I'm sitting there in line, a truck comes in, dumps birds, and then right on the site, less than 100 yards from where they dump the birds, there's a wash system all set up to disinfect the truck. And so they pull over, they get disinfected and head back out. And I was just impressed with that. So just wanted to kind of mention that I don't know if that's a state requirement or
it's a state and a federal requirement. The trucks have to be disinfected before they go back out to the ranch. What they're trying to do is avoid any cross-contamination. We also disinfect our equipment at the end of each day to comply with that.
Thank you. Director Samra.
Thank you. I know that Director McDaniel likes to joke sometimes, but is there really such thing as zombie chickens? Yeah. What is a zombie chicken then?
We had some issues last year where the birds were still alive and they were gassing them that night and then bringing them out to the site. And when you have a large pile, some of the ones in the bottom of the pile didn't get enough gas and they were still alive. So we had CDFA and other agencies that ended up having to have staff on site to deal with the chickens that were still alive when they came off the truck. So this year it's been a little different. The material that's coming out to us they're already dead, so to speak. So
we actually had incidents where you have a pile of dead birds and one would emerge and run away. So we dubbed them not run away. They would attempt to run away and then they would get stopped, but those were the zombie chickens.
Okay, I thought he was kidding, so thank you.
No, it was.
No, now you'll have nightmares.
Yes.
So, Director Pereira.
No, I'm from Livingston. We're not afraid of chickens.
Yeah. Well, just so people know, right, we're talking about this, when a flock needs to get dispatched, the way that the farm does that is they seal the building and they pump in CO2 gas, and so the birds just go to sleep and pass away. So when we talk about gas, and I don't want the public to think that there's some dangerous gas out there or that these birds are being treated any more unhumanely than they need to be. So that's it.
Good point.
Yes.
One more?
Oh, go ahead. Director Nelson.
I have a question about the recycled batteries things. So I was looking at I saw the list there. Like you have Atwater Public Works, fine, City Hall, that's great. But if we have problems with batteries self-igniting, if they're going to go in these boxes, how often do you come by and pick them up? I mean, I don't want middle of the night City Hall burning down because
Our staff is providing training as they distribute these boxes, and generally we are only accepting batteries that are not damaged. So they'll know how to look at them and see if they appear to be damaged to where they might self-ignite. We're going to handle those differently. The only ones we're going to collect in the boxes are the ones that are stable, and they'll be sealed, and we'll collect the box. The boxes aren't very big, so as soon as they're full, we'll come around, pick them up, and replace them.
Okay, so somebody's actually looking at the battery. It's
Yes.
not just in the lobby and people
Not just dropping it off. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Director Silvera.
Thank you. That answered one of my questions. And then on the other question is on the part where we're disinfecting our equipment. Who's paying for that?
We are, but part of that is when that material comes in, we're charging it as hard to handle.
Okay.
So we're collecting $128 a ton for that material.
So we're covering our costs out.
Yeah, we're using it's basically just a general disinfectant. Costs about $7 a gallon. Then we have a spray rig and spray the equipment.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. I saw on that list there's nothing. There's the county libraries and the county spots, and then the city halls, but there's no the county building isn't on there, right? I didn't see it on the county. I just think that
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think we should have one here if it's not on there.
I'll talk to Kyle and see if he.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Are there any questions from the public? All right. Seeing none. Just because we're below time, Stacy, do not keep us till 5.
I do have a list. I'm sorry, I do. Okay.
Item 13 is the executive director's report. Stacy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do have a few items. I will start, and I hate to even put this in the universe, but MCAG has been using a battery collection box for more than 10 years. It's the same kind of box. We have never had an issue. So if that puts it, not to say, there's a reason why we're diverting them from the landfill, many reasons, but we've had one and we use it, fill it, ship it, and we haven't had any issues in 10 years. So, but again, let's just not let the universe feel that as a challenge. Okay, a couple of things. I have sent out information. This is going to be a broken record through April that we are hosting the San Joaquin Valley Regional Policy Conference. Registration is open. I sent that information out. I do want to just clarify, and I have done this with the TRB, that just as any year of the policy conference, MCAG pays for the hotel and registration for any director that wants to go. We prepare that. So if you do want to attend, you as a board director want to attend that conference, let us know. Let Stephanie know. Stephanie, Joy, me, someone, and we'll just take care of your registration. And we encourage you to do that. So more to come on that. I want to also mention, I emailed out, but just want to call attention specifically for any viewing public, that the CMCP, the State Route 99 Comprehensive Multimodal Corridor Plan, does have some upcoming virtual workshop meetings that are specifically for our region, so Merced, Stanislaus, San Joaquin counties. They are Thursday, February 20th, Wednesday the 26th, and Thursday the 27th of February. I emailed the flyer. We have some out here. It's on our website, all of that stuff. Please encourage, especially your technical staff, your public works people, but it's really geared for the public. So anyone should participate, but it's always really nice to have representation from our region. We just want to mention that between now and our next board meeting, Director McDaniel, Director Nagy, and I will be participating in the San Joaquin Valley Regional Policy Council's Valley Voice trip to Sacramento. So we'll be reporting out on No, that's not. That's in March. We'll be reporting out on that platform next month, and then we'll be going in March. I'm telling you, the policy conference is all I've got. January 30th is the Regional Rail Planning Committee meeting. That should be on those that have been appointed to that calendar, to that committee. It should be on your calendar already, and we are coordinating with our rail partners for those presentations. Do want to make a quick note on the city-county rotation schedule. You do have an updated copy on print at your seat, different than what's in the binder. This is the new one. This is the only one we will be distributing. I want to point out there was a change, and I apologize to Director Nelson. He did ask me to do this, and I didn't, and then he reminded me gently, and I did it the second time, is to... basically, it's July can be difficult, a difficult month to host for temperature and all kinds of reasons. And so we swapped with the city of Atwater for 2026. That's the main change there. But what we also did is we have 8 hosts between the jurisdictions and MCAG, so it takes us 2 years to go through a cycle. So every 2 years, we're going to adjust a quarter. So if we host in July, the next cycle will host in October, the next cycle will host in April, the next cycle will... So everyone gets a chance to host in June. So that just means that if you get the October month, you don't always get October. The next time around, you'll get a different month. So basically, every 2 years, the cycle will just adjust a quarter so that we can just share the fun in hosting in July. So that is done. You have that, and we'll keep that going. And then do want to report out, because I don't think we ever did, that we did successfully purchase the property across, TJPA successfully purchased the property across the street from the Transpo. So the board did give us that direction. It has been purchased. It is awesome. If you ever want to come and see it, we'd be happy to come and show you. And then I think, no, and I have one more. Across from the Transpo. Oh, the transit facility, operations and maintenance transit. You know what I was talking about, right? They knew what else. But you're right. It's the property across the street from the operations and maintenance facility on Wardrobe. Not the Transpo. Although we will buy the Transpo if you want to sell the Transpo. That was a slip, like I can't believe, because I do want to buy the Transpo. Okay. Okay. I mentioned the last two things. One, my team, we haven't talked about this, but after the schedule came and went, the TRB took on the same approach where we do all the TRB meetings at MCAG, but we do go out to the West Side twice a year. So if that's something that the board would like to consider, that we go out to and do a board meeting twice a year, we can talk about what our options are out there and what city on the West Side may have the staff support and the technology that would best meet the needs, and then we can do that. If that's a consideration, we'll put that in for another time. Lastly, because I thought Jose was going to do this during public comment, you do have beautiful calendars from the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District that Jose Delgadillo brought for us. And I do want to point out, because he was kind to do so, that March is a local artist. So March is Camilla Benomar. She's in the 4th grade, and her artwork at the Smog Shop is featured in March. So kudos to Camilla. That is the end of my report. What? I know.
Okay.
I really try to make that short. I do.
What was the over-under, Darren? I'm just kidding. All right.
What would you guys do without me?
Item 14 is Director's Report, and we will start with Director Nagy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a few things. I want to remind everybody that the city-county dinner is on the 30th in Gustine, so I'd like to see all of you there, and especially the people that are going to be at the train meeting. Make sure you get out early enough to get there. So we always have the best food. Everybody knows that. No, I'm just kidding. I'd like to congratulate our new chairman. Welcome to the board, and here you go. I was worried about being chairman, because if I was chairman, who's going to be the comic relief? Right? I mean, come on. So thank you for taking that. Director Silvera, you were late, and you didn't take your seat. I just don't know. I just don't know. We're going to have to replace you again, huh?
No, I'm fine with that. I'm fine. I'm fine.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Director Nelson.
I just want to welcome Mike back again. You know, like I said, I would never run for public office after being on the Board of Supervisors, and yet here I am again. So anyway, welcome back.
Director Samra.
Yeah, I too want to welcome Michael back. And as I said earlier, we got new people in the recycles, so good to see you back.
Director Reed. Or I'm sorry, Director Smith, sorry.
I'll answer to both. Just want to welcome both of you guys back to the board. Look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
All right. Director Reed.
This is my second meeting, so welcome back. Yeah, I didn't know that. I could be comic relief too. I just want to update everybody that our Lorraine Street Bridge project is going fabulously. Everybody in Dallas Palace seems to be super happy with all the progress, and they are continually posting on our community watch pages. Today, my students found one and said, "Look it looks like snow." I said, "That is cement. It's not snow." So they are being engaged with whoever's posting. A lot of them are anonymous, and the teenagers are following it. And my students were there for the groundbreaking, so they feel kind of connected to it. And so I just wanted to thank everybody for your support on that. And it looks like we're almost ready for the bridge portion. So thank you.
Thank you. Director Ammonbiel, welcome back.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate the board's confidence in me. It's been 18 years since I've sat up here, and things have changed a little bit, and it's been an exciting 2 weeks in Los Banos, and hopefully things calm down there, but I'm looking forward to these meetings and being with all of you. I appreciate it very much.
Director Silvera.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, Mayor Ammonbiel, welcome back, and I wish you some calmness in Los Banos. You've been a very busy man these past few weeks. The reason I was late, I was in Sacramento for a meeting, and the reason Director Pedroso took the chair is because I couldn't make a commitment that I would be here on time. My meeting actually got out a little, and I would have been on time except for traffic coming through Modesto and Ripon was crappy. So.
Director Pereira.
Excuse me. We're auditioning for your spot, Pat, for when you're chair. Anyways, I'd like to thank the City of Gustine and the mayor for picking the city-county relations dinner on a night that I don't have a MAC meeting. The last 3 quarters, it's been on a night where I have the MAC. So appreciate that and look forward to coming out. If anybody would like some of these calendars to distribute in your community, or even just have 5 or 10 on the counter at your building, your city hall or something, let me know, and I'll get them for you. And then any of my colleagues, supervisor, I plan on doing this later, but if you would like some of these to take to your MAC meetings, let me know, and I'll get you some for that. And thank you to our forever faithful Jose Delgadillo for always bringing the Air District stuff forward.
Thank you. Director Pacheco, welcome to MCAG.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this is my first meeting, so I'm thoroughly confused. So, I want to thank Stacy and her staff for giving me a good orientation. I'm trying to hit the ground running. I'm looking forward to working with every one of you. So, thank you.
Thank you. Director McDaniel.
Yeah, welcome new members. Glad to have you here. Looking towards your leadership. It was legendary from Los Banos, so looking forward to it moving forward. And I'll do the apology today for those of you going to One Voice. You guys are going to miss Luke Bryan, May 15th out at Castle. So have fun in Washington, D.C., because we're going to have a lot of fun here. Thank you.
That's so kind.
All right. I have nothing to report, and so I will adjourn the meeting at 4:23. Thank you.
All right.